Andrew, Bolt Bros. So, guys, pretty exciting day. We have our general manager, our GM, going to be having his press conference. We are going to show it live. James will be joining soon. Kyle is a maybe, most likely not. But we are going to be showing it here very shortly. So it's going to start in about 15 minutes. So I'm just going to cover a few more things here. But guys, as we were talking about the Chargers, I love this. This is absolutely hilarious right now. But bottom line, the league is terrified what the Chargers are going to be finally bringing. Right? They all know we have Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert's an absolute stud. So it's going to be exciting to see him get a running game finally. You know, I want to talk about the coaching staff, how that's coming together a little bit, and then we're going to obviously watch Joe Hortiz's press conference live. Again, James will be joining. Kyle most likely not. So plenty to talk about, guys. Let's get into it.
I'm Dale Henley. You watching the Bolt Bros podcast? Let's do it!
Okay. All righty, folks. We got people piling in, so throw your thoughts and questions out. Hasbulla with dude. By the way, that little kid is hilarious to me. He's not a kid. I think he's an adult. But anyways, pretty good stuff. Look, here's the thing too. One thing I will say also, guys, you got to remember last year we were 1-9 in one-score games. 1-9. Promise you, Jim Harbaugh and this staff that we're putting together is going to just turn that around. So I'm super excited to see what we got going here moving forward. Again, little Hezbollah, man, this kid just cracks me up. Love watching his little videos on YouTube. Makes me laugh. So anyways, we are going to be discussing a little more about some of the coaching staff that we're bringing through. Again, Joe Hortiz, the man of the hour today. Super excited to see what he says today. Again, guys, we're Ravens West, folks. What do you guys think? You know, last year we were horrible at rushing the rock, right? I mean, you guys seen the rumors. Gus Edwards might be a guy that we're going to target. Saquon Barkley, Swift. There's a lot of running backs out there we can get probably pretty cheap. Gus Edwards, I think we can get him very cheap. So, you know, I think there's a lot of players. We could probably go get a veteran, maybe draft another guy and have a nice running back room. It's going to be pretty exciting. So, it's going to be exciting. So what do you guys think, right? What do you think? Do you think we're going to go after a veteran? Or do you think we're just going to, draft an awesome running back in the draft? What are your thoughts on this moving forward? But again, I think Joe Hortiz specifically is going to be one of those guys that's going to really change the culture of this team. Clearly Jim Harbaugh is going to change the culture of this team as soon as possible because bottom line, dude, I'm telling you, man, this team lacked a lot of conviction, a lot of just will to win, man, you know, and I think that's really a big part of what's going to be changing moving forward. So let's go through some of the comments here. Yeah, by the way, the OC is an interesting conversation. Who do you guys think? I know James and I were talking last night. We'd love to see Pep Hamilton, but I'm not hearing his name being mentioned very often. That's a little weird. We're going to talk a little more about that a little later on as well, too. But it's really odd to me that we're not hearing more about an OC. I thought that was kind of strange. Let's see. This was kind of funny. When I read this, I was like, am I reading that right? I saw an article possibly trading away the Bears for number 1 pick and take J.J. McCarthy. Yeah. Anyways, that's pretty funny. Yeah, and I like what the Shield said here. What's the name of the idiot that wrote that article? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you know, that's a really good point, right? I do like Eric Bieniemy. You know, the thing that I've heard about Eric Bieniemy more than anything is that he's a bit hard to deal with, right? I don't know. What have you guys heard about him? I think that's where, you know, I'm hearing that's he's a little bit of a prickly pear, if you will, right? You know, I don't know that would make sense. And yes, Goomba, we are needing a tough-nosed veteran running back. I agree with that as well too. So I kind of like the Gus Edwards idea. Swift would be good. I think there's a lot of guys out there that be, and honestly, you can get a guy pretty cheap. To me, I think you should draft a guy and then also bring in a veteran. You can probably get pretty inexpensive. Just someone you think would be good. How would you? You know what? I would say that's exactly how we're going to be running, right? I mean, this is, that style of football has really become, not as exciting, right? I mean, we became such a pass-heavy offense. I mean, look at what the Lions did, right, with Ben Johnson. So it's going to be Marty Ball 2.0 is basically, it's a perfect way of saying it. I think that's exactly how it's going to be. Barkley, I like Barkley. Barkley's a stud, but he's going to come with a higher price tag too. So again, with the salary cap issue, I get a little nervous about that as well. Just because I think he's going to be an issue. But again, this guy right here, I keep thinking about Doctor Strange or Iron Man, like he let himself go kind of a thing, right? He's heavier set Iron Man. And Greg Roman, just so you know, he's sort of the running back whisperer, right? You want a running game? He's the guy. He is the guy. And by the way, just so you know, he's the senior, what was his exact title? Basically senior offensive coordinator, right? So I think he's going to be more of like a consultant role or like an assistant manager to Jim Harbaugh. He has an interesting role, right? But again, he specializes in the running game, and we were horrible at that last year, right? So I think he is going to look good. Yes, Doctor Strange ate too much New York pizza, right? So again, Derrick Henry. Oh man, I would love Derrick Henry too. Oh my goodness, woo! And you're right. Blake Corum in the 3rd round makes a lot of sense. Yeah, and Iron Man. I'm telling you, I cannot stop thinking just because it's so perfectly, made. It just kind of makes me laugh. And you're right. There's a lot of good rookies out there in the draft this as well. So I'm feeling pretty confident we can also probably get somebody like that. And guys, just so you know, we are going to be broadcasting the actual video as well. I have it on the other screen here. I'm just waiting for it to get going. They have not even messed around with the mics or doing any mic checks. We're just going to have some general discussions. What would you want to also hear Jim Ortiz talk about today in the press conference as well? Yeah, running game will take pressure off of Herbert, which is never. I agree, right? Like the one thing you have to say in the NFL, and this is where Harbaugh, he made a really good point. Like if you go back to his press conference, in fact, I wanted to chop it up, but I got too lazy to do it. My bad. Sorry, guys. But he basically said, look, bottom line, you need to keep Herbert upright, right? He touches the ball every play. You cannot let him get hurt. And he was just getting banged up. He was pressured more than almost any quarterbacks in the league last season. They blitzed constantly because they knew they could get to him. We did a terrible job of picking up the blitz. This guy is an offensive line guru. That's more than really what he really is. Yes, running game is good, but he's also going to protect Justin Herbert. And that's really what you want from him, right? It's not about really him being this offensive guru who's going to throw the ball downfield. But again, I think he could be the guy that comes in as well. Now, again, Bradley's going to be the passing game coordinator, which I think is very interesting. The guy from the Dolphins, the passing game coordinator there, might be potentially the OC. Who knows? He has ties with Jim Harbaugh, so we'll see. I'm drawing a blank on his name. What's his name? Anyways, I can look it up. Let me know in the chat down below. You guys know that guy's name. You could probably Google it up as well. But again, Roman's going to be the guy that's going to help the offensive line protect Herbert, for God's sakes, probably get nasty and really start driving the ball down people's throat. That's great. If that's what he's here for, which it really seems like that's what it is, we might know more about that on today's press conference. Yeah, and Bucky Irving I like a lot. I think his stuff looks really good. You could probably get him. I think I'm seeing him second, maybe 3rd round as well. And you're right, Fresh Prince. Cap space is a myth to some degree because you can rob Peter to pay Paul, move dollars in from outer years into this year's, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. But again, that's what Joe Hortiz got to fiddle around with, is making those numbers work. So So at any rate, there is something to be said about that. Yeah, and Braylon Allen, I think Kyle was talking about him quite a bit. I haven't seen a whole lot of him, but yeah, I can see some stuff here. Well, I want to talk about this guy right here. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Karowitz, I think is his last name. This guy's brought in for analytics. This guy went to Notre Dame. He got an MBA at Notre Dame. This guy's been a business and analytics type of guy. He's really here to give us an understanding of players, player development, where things move forward. This dude will probably be a GM at some point. He's pretty young right now, but I would say at some point he might be getting an opportunity to be a GM. Very smart guy from everything I've been reading. I was looking at his YouTube, LinkedIn profile. Man, this guy's got a lot of experience. And again, he understands the Ravens system. Guys, we are Ravens West, right? The offense you see with the Ravens is what we're doing. We're going to have a hard-nosed football team on both sides of the ball. The defense is going to be absolutely nasty. And his job is to pick the nasty dudes at the bottom of the list, right? Everyone that you want to go for. So I'm excited to see what he can do. Yeah, that dude from the line. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The passing game coordinator. I think he could be the guy. Again, it's really weird. I'm not hearing a lot of information on it. It's a little strange. And by the way, Harbaugh has so much clout, right? Everything I've been reading is everyone's just so hyped. It'll help also in free agency, guys, when people want to come over. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be huge. Okay, so let me get ready here. Here is the press conference right now. Okay, it has not started. Let me switch it off here. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna full screen this one, obviously. Okay, so I'm gonna hit play. It's not going live yet. Okay. All right, so it has not gone live. So let's stay tuned. The Ravens are Chargers East. I like that as well. So again, James will be joining. He has a business meeting he's working on right now. So as soon as that's done, he's going to move forward. Again, this is the screen for the press conference right now. We are just waiting. 3 minutes. Guys, it's exciting. Now, okay. That's what I like to hear from her. How much can we play with the cap? We don't have the gut the whole time. Yeah. James has a video on that. He wants to kind of break down the entire cap space situation. And bottom line, guys, the cap space situation, you're right. It's a bit of smoke and mirrors, right? But he has to figure out the numbers to make that work, right? So, and again, someone like, Slay, right? He's set to make $34 million next year. Dude, $34 million bucks. Come on. What might happen is they might say, okay, great. Let's just pay you out, $15 million right now, give you another year. These next 2 years, you're going to get, an extra amount of dollars, right? So there's a lot to be said about that. So, James is here. What's up, James?
What's up?
Hey. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, so I think I heard you talking about.
James, glad you can join. I was running out of cheesy jokes.
No. Well, you got plenty of those. Man. You got plenty of those. I think you were chatting a little bit about the Lions passing game coordinator Tanner Ingstrand or whatnot.
Yeah. Okay.
It's an interesting thing, and I think you were probably chatting a little bit about who the heck is going to be the offensive coordinator. And I did a video on that yesterday, and it's like you got so many different ideas of who it could have been. I mean, we all thought it was going to be Greg Roman. No, just adding a guy that's heavily experienced in the offensive coordination type position, and we still don't have an OC. So I kind of almost think, what if it's like Jim Harbaugh is going to be the OC, and then he's just going to have a supporting cast around him being the offensive coordinator?
Could be.
What if, you go back to the Patriots last year, it was Gerard Mayo and Steve Belichick who were basically co-defensive coordinators. So, and Steve Belichick got the defensive coordinator position for the Seahawks, believe it or not. So, so who knows? Maybe they're going to have a co-offensive coordinator kind of situation. I don't know. So who knows?
Wow. And thank you so much for the donation.
Yeah, man.
7414. We used to be Bolt Gang, Don't Bolt Gang, any squad, any place. 2018 until we started losing. And then we had to become Bolt Fam. Drop the ASP, was Bolt Fam. Born to Lose. Love the show. Hey, thank you so much for tossing us a few bucks, guys. Yes, we are monetized again on YouTube. Very exciting.
Hey.
We're out of the penalty box, you know. Hey, but I will say this, guys. You know, bottom line, it's forced us to make some better content, which I think is good for you guys. It's good for everybody. It is what it is, guys. But you know, YouTube is finicky. I'm going to be very clear with you guys on this. YouTube is very finicky. Of all the platforms, they want things done their own way. And guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
And actually, to answer his question, was Bolt fam out of losing? You know, and as a family, you got to go through all the rocky times, right? And so we're all trying to just be a family, trying to get through the tough times. And you know what? I'll say right now, we got Jim Harbaugh, who is an absolute machine of creating T-shirt ideas, sayings, and all these different things. So it's exciting to be able to see what Jim Harbaugh is basically going to do for this team, and you know, hopefully to change the narrative about the Chargers in general. And I really do think that he's going to make this team a highly successful team very quickly. So AFC West better be scared. AFC is going to be scared. Let's go.
Yeah, we're going to bring the heat, as
bring the heat, baby,
as Aether likes to say. Yeah, and again, so Ingerstrand, that's right. I mean, it would make sense, right? The one thing I really liked about the Lions offense is that he did a great job just creating space and separation. Very good job with that, right? So I think there's a lot to be said. Yeah, Ingstrand for OC. I think he's a name that keeps getting thrown around, but yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really curious how that plays out. Acho.
Well,
I was going to do a video on Acho the other day.
Yeah, oh gosh, that Acho dude, he's ridiculous. Well, the thing about Ingstrand too is that he has worked with Jim Harbaugh at UC or University of San Diego. So he's a San Diego dude through and through. And so he has worked with Jim Harbaugh in the past. So I think this is a good fit. It sounds like a great fit. Let's see it happen.
All right, I got it up on Facebook and I have it up on the Chargers page. It's still not happening. So guys, if anyone in the chat, if it does say go, let me know. And we'll be more quiet on
press play on that too, actually, because I don't know if you're letting it stream or not.
Oh no, I've been hitting play.
Okay, so now it's on stop. Now it's play. There you go. Stop.
No,
play.
It's not going. Yeah, I'm on both right now, so I've hit play on both.
All right, just let it just chill then. Hey, have you heard anything in the back? Because I know you had it on mute yet, or it looked like it was mute on the player.
Nope, nothing.
Okay. All right.
Nothing. Yep. So it's just sitting there. So guys, if you hear anything, I mean, I'm on the Facebook page and I'm on both pages. So as it keeps going. All right. Oh, Kyle, what's up, Kyle? Kyle's at work. He's got to make that money. Kyle's got to make that money.
That's right. That's right.
Oh my goodness.
You know, and actually even just to kind of talk a little bit more about offensive coordinators. I mean, in the video I did yesterday, I kind of did some speculative picks. The one thing that I was saying is that I know Kyle's been a big fan, and he was obviously very good for Justin Herbert's first year as a quarterback coach, but Pep Hamilton to come over as an offensive coordinator. I thought I heard some rumblings that he did not like working with Jim Harbaugh when he was with Stanford, though. Okay. I heard some rumblings about that. I don't know if I'm just making that up or whatnot. But obviously there's a connection there. Pep Hamilton's been talked about being the offensive coordinator for the Raiders. They also obviously did not get Cliff Kingsbury. He's like, see you later, dude. I'm going to Washington. But Pep Hamilton is one of those guys that I think would be a cool fit to be able to be as an OC.
Here we go.
Let's go. Here we go.
There it is.
Water bottle set. Aquafina ready to go.
Aquafina
is terrible water, in my opinion.
Now, this is interesting. So I'm seeing it on Facebook, but I'm not seeing it on YouTube.
Yeah,
on their
it's
page.
Probably just delayed. Right. It's probably just delayed.
I'm going to switch it. Guys.
Yep.
There we go.
You here. Welcome
there we go.
To the Charger family. Before Joe comes up, I thought I'd talk
you guys
a
all
little
hear
bit
Let me know in the
about
chat if you can hear.
Our process.
Let me know.
And why we feel Joe's the best person for this job. It's been a long time since we've gone through a GM search. It's been 11 years. And
Here you go.
I remember 11 years ago, we had
comment
both
out
the
there.
GM and head coach positions open. And
Can you guys hear okay?
11 years
Let me know.
ago, we made a very specific plan to hire the GM first. And this time around, we wanted to make sure we remained open-minded to sort of, we didn't want to limit ourselves. And we ran really a dual process. And, I explained last Thursday at the press conference, what our process was for the head coach in regards to first identifying the traits that we're looking for in the candidates, and then the ways you go about evaluating those traits in regards to the interview, the body of work, and the references. And that was exactly what we did with the GM search as well. So, we went through both at the same time and went down a parallel path, and really kind of conducted two separate searches. But I think it's important to point out, something that was really important to us was the fit between the head coach and the general manager. We did not want to, have an arranged marriage in any way. And it was important to us, whatever domino did fall first, that person, we would want their insights on the other spot as well. And as we went through the interview process, we asked all the head coaches about GMs, all the GMs about head coaches, and what kind of worked out perfectly was
GM didn't work out
both
well with
Coach
him.
Harbaugh and Joe said, nothing but super positive things about each other. And so we felt really good about that fit. I first crossed paths with Joe, many years ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when, couldn't remember the exact date, but
he was kind of into it. So,
just being on the road scouting, and you really can get to know people, on other teams. You're spending sometimes the entire day with other scouts.
All over me, dude. I'm
if
down.
not multiple days.
Hey, hit me up, baby. What's up?
And you really get to know people
tonight.
And I think for me, one of the things that always stood out about Joe from the very beginning when I met him, just how hardworking he is, how low ego. And then, from being in schools with him and seeing the way he can talk to people who are at the schools, he has a really special way of connecting with people and building relationships, which I think is really important in this business.
The Ravens and the drafting. So, they did a great job through drafts.
The body of work, of course, where Joe's been is super impressive.
I really hope that,
and I think that the Ravens,
they cut bait if it doesn't work out for a draft pick versus try to put a square peg in a round hole. Now, just froze up on us here.
What just happened here? Come on.
Hello.
That
was weird. And the
come
sound's
from all
off.
kinds of backgrounds.
There we go.
And all kinds of resumes and all kinds of traits. But at the end of the day, I really think that this position,
sorry guys,
must excel at team building. And when it comes to, player evaluation, player acquisition, I think those things are just paramount with the general manager position. And from looking at Joe's work and where he's been, we feel really excited about his ability to do just that here. And just really the more we got to spend time with Joe through the interview process, I think all those traits that I mentioned really just came to light. I feel like Joe was kind of born to do this job. He's really high passion for football that really came out. Impressive knowledge of the game. He's been evaluating players really a long time, and throughout the process shared with us his vision and his philosophy on team building. A lot of it is rooted in the draft, but I think what also presented itself was, Joe has a progressive view on team building in regards to, factoring in salary cap ramifications, the use of analytics. So, taking all those things into account, we felt that Joe was the perfect person for this job, and really just couldn't be more excited to have him here. So with that, it's with great pleasure that I introduce the next GM of the LA Chargers, Joe Hortiz.
I like it.
Hey guys, we appreciate the support and everything too, and jumping on the screen. Obviously, once again, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not, guys. Appreciate the support and love, guys.
Well, I'm excited to be here. First, thanks for everyone for coming. I just walked through the rain out here, so it's definitely a little wet out there, but I'm trying to keep dry it off. But anyway.
Look like a softball coach.
God, what is going on here?
What is going on with
Just really a pleasure to be here. I want to thank.
Come on, guys. This is ridiculous.
Getting destroyed right now.
This is annoying. It might be because there's like too many people in there.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Chargers one went out as well too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I'm on the Chargers one as well. Okay, this is I don't understand what's going on, guys. This is just really odd.
That froze
Oh, it
too.
froze again.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
both of them are freezing up.
Yeah.
What impeccable timing, guys.
Gotta love that.
Yeah.
Yep. Something's gone wrong. Anybody else having this problem? Are you guys seeing it on your end as well? The video is ended. Oh no.
Wow.
It
What
says the video is
timing,
ended.
guys?
Hold on. Yep. Something's gone wrong. Anybody else having this problem? Are you guys seeing it on?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm actually on the Chargers website too. Something's gone wrong. Wow, what an impeccable timing, guys.
Wow. All right.
Wow.
Let me share this with you guys so you don't whoa, what is going on, guys? That is crazy. Okay. Well, let me keep monitoring it here. Let me get back on Facebook here real quick. Let me see if I can get that to work. Okay, so James, take it while I'm fiddling around with that. Let me the shades. I think James has some, or Kyle has some as well too. Yeah, there we go.
Well, I mean, you could jump on our website on our store too at www.boltbros.live/merch. I'll throw that in the chat. And you could jump on there to grab some shades. And we obviously have a lot of merch on there too, that we rock pretty often. And we update pretty often. We got a ton of ideas for other shirts and everything too. So we'd love you guys to be able to throw that. I just threw in the link in the chat too. So, Jake, dude, so these low supply hats, bro, so good. They make quality hats, and we wanted to be able to do like a sponsorship with these guys for the longest time. And low supply, legit, dude. We love them, and we buy so many hats from them. Great fits, great details to it. Man, we could rant and rave about these guys. I wish we could get these guys to sponsor us, man.
Oh, here we go. We made. Oh, nope.
Brandon Staley cut the SoFi signal. That's what it is.
He did.
That's right.
He did. It's crazy. What happened here? This is freaking crazy.
I'm gonna jump on the YouTube too, just to see if there's anything on there, man. Sorry, guys. This is not on our side. This is on the Chargers side for sure.
Yeah, so strange. What is going on? I'm refreshing it every second here, trying to get this to work.
Just freaking crashed on it, dude. Oh my gosh. But one thing I'll just say while we're kind of figuring this all out, guys, is the thing about Joe Hortiz. I did a whole video about him and being with the Ravens and him being a part of the drafts and everything. The one thing that you could find out a lot about their drafts that they get a lot of late round based Pro Bowl players. You get guys that actually kind of have short leashes also too. Hollywood Brown is one of the guys they end up trading off to the Cardinals, getting some extra picks out of them. And they only drafted him 2 years prior. So the thing I'm saying about Joe Hortiz and the Ravens in general, they have a philosophy built to be able to want to push out players if they don't fit very well right now. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see with this draft, specifically a lot of salary cap issues and everything that are going on. I wouldn't be surprised seeing some players getting traded off for some picks and everything too. So keep an eye out for that, guys. Like, I think Khalil Mack is one of those guys. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Khalil Mack would be one of those guys that gets traded off for a back end type pick and a salary shed for us, or Joey Bosa, or Mike Williams. I assume that Keenan Allen's going to be sticking around because Jim Harbaugh has talked about him pretty heavily.
Hey guys, it's up now again.
All right,
give me a sec, guys. Here. Golly, that was stressful. What the hell? Here we go.
Adam, it's raining like crazy out there too, and it's about to hit here in Arizona here shortly too.
Okay.
And that's what he's done over and over and over.
We'll be quiet.
And that's what I've been a part of in Baltimore. So I believe we're going to bring that here.
Hi, Lillian Elliott from the LA Times. During his press conference last week, Coach Harbaugh said that during the season he'd be Batman and you'd be Robin.
Yeah.
And the offseason you'd be Batman and he'd be Robin.
Right.
Is that how you see the relationship too?
Absolutely. Again, I've lived it 26 years in Baltimore. I watched it. We've talked about that over the years. Jim's been on my list. I've had a couple chances elsewhere. He's always been at the top of my list as a guy I wanted to work with. And we've talked about that before I got the interview here. We talked about Batman and Robin, and certainly that's the way we're going to operate. The only thing is, I'm not wearing tights. All right, I may put a cape on, but I'm not wearing tights. All right, we'll do it. The other thing, I loved. He said red, tights. Right, from Shawshank Redemption. All right, I'll be your Andy. All right, I'll be your Andy Dufresne. So that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a partnership. There's a time for the GM to lead, and then there's certainly when we kick it off, that's when the head coach leads, and I'm going to do everything I can to support him and give him everything he needs to win.
It gives me goosebumps to hear that.
Oh man, for sure.
Special opportunity, unique opportunity to lead somewhere where you've been for 26 years. What is it about this specific situation, in terms of roster, in terms of organization, all those types of things that led to you making that decision to make the jump?
Right. Well, the great thing is, I met John. It was a long time ago. I don't even know where. We can't figure out where it was, but just I got to know him on the road and see how he is. And then when I went through the Zoom, I got done the Zoom call with my wife, and I said, "Baby, this is it. This is the fit. If I want this job." Because in that Zoom call, you hear about the longevity of the people in this organization. You hear about the love they have for this organization, the commitment they have to winning. And I mean a commitment to building a consistent winner. And so you hear that, and then when I came on the interview, you feel it, and you know it's true, and you see it in who they hired. You know they're committed to winning, and it makes it easy to go from one great organization to another organization that you believe is going to be great. I believe there's talent on this field. They know how to draft players here. They've drafted some really talented players. We've played them. We've lost to them in playoff games. We've beaten them in tough, hard-fought games. Our goal is to just build it bigger and stronger, and tougher. We want people to walk in here, teams to walk in this stadium knowing they played us.
Joe, you mentioned, obviously, Eric and Ozzie.
I love it.
How much of a role did Phil Savage and George Kikinis kind of help coming up to?
It's starting with Phil. I mean, Phil's the one who really found me at Auburn. I was a student assistant, doing everything I could do. Made sure coffee was made every morning at 7 a.m. for the staff meeting, broke down film, and then I ran the football camps. And that's where I got to know Phil Savage. And he was a great early mentor for me and friend. And then George, we were talking about this before I left, man, and that was the hardest hug I've ever had. 26 years I was there, 25, George was next to me. And I really mean next to me. His office was across the way from me. Great, just friend, mentor, counselor. He's got kids that are a little bit older than ours, so he's been through it before, and he's able to tell me, what he's gone through. So yeah, you're talking about two of my really, really great friends in my career. And again, I'd love to mention everyone, and thank you for bringing those two up. And there's many more, but yeah, special place in my heart.
Joe, you there from Ozzie and Eric in Baltimore that you plan to bring here, things that they did in team building.
Yeah, so one Ozzie, the biggest thing that stood out with both of them, and Ozzie taught us all this. He taught Eric this, and Eric's kind of taking it forward and continued to teach us. But
guys.
One Ozzie's a patient GM. He's going to take all the information in. You don't make snap judgments. You don't make snap decisions. The draft process, the free agency process, signing players during the season, everything is a process, and it's a discussion, all right? And the best decisions come through discussions, and I think that's what they both have done greatly in Baltimore, and that's what we're going to try to do here. But it's just trust the process, believe in the process, use everybody's information to help us make the best decision.
Love
Joe,
it.
you mentioned the talent on the field.
Yeah.
Herbert probably at the
Big.
top of that list.
We
How
fans,
much
dude.
did having an established
We
quarterback
fans.
play a role in you coming here?
Oh, I mean, listen, in personnel, if you ask any scout, what are the three things you want? You want great ownership, check, all right? You want a great head coach, check. And you want a great quarterback, check. So I'm walking into, if everything else, any scout that walks into a GM role, if you say I got those three things, you got a chance. You got a chance to be really good. So we got a chance here to be really good. So having that, it's awesome. This is a dream job. And if you heard the friends of mine out there on the road and in the profession, the excitement they have for what we're going to create here and do here, it's awesome.
Joe and Xavier at ESPN. Outside of personnel
But again, it's collaborative. I'm going to work with John. I'm going to work with Jim. I am good at personnel. All right, I know that. All right, but I know there are great people at the things they do, and you trust the experts to do their jobs, and I'm going to rely on them, and we're going to work together. So it's a team. It's a team. They may fall under me, but we're going to work together.
John mentioned you have a progressive team building philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
What is your team building philosophy as far as player acquisition?
I think you work every avenue. All right, I'm a big fan of comp picks. All right, number one, let's create that chain. Let's create that cycle of comp picks. How do you do that? You gain as many picks as you can early, and then you draft, and then make smart decisions on who you re-sign. Obviously, you want to extend your core players, but then there's some players we're not going to be able to because of the cap.
That's
but you
smart.
want to create that cycle of comp picks, and you've got to manage your signings in free agency to do that. Certainly player workouts, let's turn that bottom of the roster. All right, let's turn that practice squad. We want to get better. I'll talk to Jim every morning during the season. Hey, where can I help you get better? And he's going to say, Joe, I need a inside backer. We need to upgrade. Well, that's what we're going to go out there and do. So you do it through free agency. You do it pre-draft, post-draft, and free agency. You do those summer signings, the cap casualties, things to do to protect comp picks, and then really just churn the bottom of the roster. Always looking to get better. Always looking to improve every week.
So we may get a comp pick for Drew Tranquil.
It could be up to a third to a fifth.
Yep. Crazy.
500 yards of sewage to go through as far as the salary cap the next couple months. Just what's your philosophy on renegotiating contracts and just evaluating that?
Yeah, so we're going to get together. We're still working on filling out the coaching staff and finalizing that and making those hires. So that's our main priority right now. And once we get our coaching staff settled, we're going to sit down and grind through it as a staff, and then we'll make decisions going from there. But certainly there's some work to do, but it's not unattainable. Andy got out. We'll get out. So you just got to keep crawling and digging, right? So no, but it's going to take some work. But again, we got smart guys doing in those roles. Ed is a wizard. I know that. His reputation preceded him with me walking in the building. So rely heavily on him with that.
Obviously, you work with John Harbaugh, but how well do you know Jim, or how well do you know Jim before joining?
Yeah, I actually met Jim before John. Jim was our quarterback, and in Baltimore my very first year. So the one thing I knew before I knew how competitive John was how competitive Jim was, because one Friday he invited me into the racquetball court, and him and Eric Zier, and I was like, oh my God, this is cool. I'm 22 years old. I'm a kid, right? It's the coolest thing in the world. I'm getting ready to go play with a starting NFL quarterback and his backup. I'm going to show him I'm an athlete. All right, I'm going to show him that I can hang. All right, and I swear to you, I'm so blessed to be here today that I got out of that room, because I was getting thrown around. I'm getting ready to hit a ball off the wall. Jim comes in and just chucks me into the middle of the court. So I realized I was there just to give them a break in a game of cutthroat, they call it. So no, I've known him. I knew him then.
I played a lot of
loved
rugby.
watching him play. I saw his fiery nature then, his competitiveness, his desire to win. And then when John came to Baltimore, that's when we really got to, cross paths again, and certainly going into Stanford and then Michigan, having conversations with him, his whole family, Jack and Jackie. I know. I mean, I've had so many conversations with Jack. So, again, it's family, and it's great that I'm really going from brother to brother. It's a really unique
cool.
and
That's a
rare
cool
gift
story.
that's been given to me.
We got to get these guys on the pickleball court. Let's go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
talk
right.
about
Boom,
the
boom,
philosophy
boom,
in terms
boom.
of what traits they're looking for in players. Obviously, there's position-specific stuff. But
Yeah.
there's more overarching philosophies
Yeah.
as far as what you're looking for in terms of
Yeah.
makeup, certain athletic traits. Like for you, what are the important traits that you're looking for, the overarching traits that you're looking for in players?
Yeah, every position is different, right? Like you said, position specifics, critical factors. We want them all to be big, fast, tough, smart, right? And tough is key, right? You got to have that mentality. But then, part of the player, only 50% of the player is the talent, and the skill set to play the position. The other 50% is the person. And we're going to dive deep into that. We want players that are committed to team. All right, that's where I come from. That's where he comes from, and that's what we're going to be here. It's team to team to team. That's real, and then we want guys that have that mentality to persevere, to fight.
man?
Up 30,
Good to
down
see ya.
30. We're playing hard all the way to the end of the game.
Raphael, man.
You know,
Love
high
to see it.
character people, you know, players that care about each other, do the right thing. You know, those are things that are going to be really important for us.
That's huge.
Scouting, does that help you
Huge.
find players like that?
Yeah, you know, I think so.
Yeah.
And it's the discussion on every player. It's not,
Yeah.
you know, I can look at film and watch a player and like them or not like them, but the scouts are going to help us. You know, they're the ones that go into the schools and really fight. You know, we can watch, anyone can watch a talent and say, hey, this is a good player, you know, or, you know, but it's the discussion about who that person is and what he is going to bring to our team and the value, the tangible skill set and then the intangible skill set. And I think that's kind of, like I said, the best decisions are made through discussions. Next week, we're going to get in there and start talking about players in the draft, and we're going to find out who are the Chargers in this draft, the people that fit our mentality and what we want. Excuse me.
Joe, have you ever been with the Ravens in a situation where you were heading into an offseason where the team was this projected to be this high?
That's huge.
I would have to say we've been in a situation where we were going to be over, and we had to make decisions and contract decisions and adjustments, I'd say. But I'd have to look back at the percentage
It's live, yeah.
that we've been in the past over the cap versus, but we've been in the situation where we've had to make decisions, yeah.
When you were in that situation before, how much goes into, when you're having those discussions, how much goes into, you know, how long the player's been with the organization, you know, versus how they're playing, you know, their age, where they're trending, versus this player just makes too much money, we have to figure out a way, we have to move on and restructure, like, what is that discussion like?
Yeah, well, you just weigh it. You know, you sit there and you weigh, okay, certainly you know, you don't want to hold on to players ever as a personnel guy that have, you know, on the decline or have passed the point of decline. But I think the players that we've had those discussions about, what's the value they bring to the organization, current value and their future value, and you discuss it and you just you weigh those things. I mean, that's the reality of this business. You have to weigh the value they have, the value they're going to bring, and the cost associated with it.
They
And
basically get
that's the
rid of
nature
dead weight
It's
if
not
they
a
don't
fun
need them
part.
anymore.
You'd love to have an uncapped, you know, be like baseball, you know, and pay a luxury tax, Dean. You know, just,
First thing
you
I
know,
thought
I don't know
was
about that. You know, like the, you know, but no, we have a cap, and that's the reality of it, and you have to adjust and manage around the cap.
Part of a GM's job is sort of have the long.
Yeah, I like trading down as well.
Yep. As soon as possible, GM's job is to, you know, have that long review. So, like with this current situation with the cap, I guess how willing are you to, I guess, rip the Band-Aid off, tear it down, so that you guys can build it, and maybe look past 2024 as far as what's the best way to build this thing to get to sustainability?
So our goal is to build a winner every year. We want to compete to win a championship every year, okay? That's going to be starting now, all right? That's not going to be, let's, you know, gut it and start over, you know? That's the decisions. Okay, what balance of players gives us the best opportunity to go out there and compete this year? I know who we're trying to beat, all right? We know who we're trying to beat, all right? And we're gunning, you know, we're going that direction. So we don't want to just say, we're not mailing in a season, no way. Like, we're going to try to win this year, but you make the right decisions and the best decisions that gives us flexibility this year and going forward.
As far as the coaching staff, where are you and Jim at as far
Both
as
knows that to
you know,
both.
setting on coordinators and everything?
He has a big schnoz, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been speculating.
Sure. Yeah. You know, I anticipate that being done relatively soon. We've done a lot of work over the past 5 days. I got finalized, I think, on Tuesday, I believe it was. I'm on the phone with him on Wednesday before I flew out here, and I jumped right into the deep end, and every once in a while I crawl over to the wall and catch my breath and then get back over. But, you know, yeah, we've been working nonstop all weekend, talking to a ton of coaches, and I think we're getting close, and we'll probably be making some announcements, I would say, in the next couple of days or so.
Cool. That's good to know.
You and the scouting department, is that a department that you just take over, or is that something that you're evaluating and to make changes to, or perhaps like bring in other folks that you know to help that department too?
Right. So, like, there's a little bit of a difference, you know, when change is made at those two respective positions, coaching and scouting. Our scouts here have done a great job through my transition here, and I know a good number of them. And I'm going to evaluate our entire scouting staff. There are people that I'd like to bring in, and as soon as I can get them in, I'll get them in here. That will help me impart my vision on how we want to run our personnel department. But I certainly know there's talented people already in this organization, and I'm going to be able to evaluate them through the draft process, through the free agency process, and make decisions as needed.
JoJo Wooden was at the Senior Bowl too, so
yes, he was.
And he's sticking around.
Yep, which is good. I'm glad he's here.
Yep,
he's been a big guy.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been in every position, so I can relate to a lot of people in this organization. And, the great thing about Baltimore is, again, we were all together as a big family, and I got to know people outside of scouting. And I have some of my best friendships with people outside of scouting. So you learn how all the processes, all the departments interact and weave together. But certainly going through the ranks, I understand what it's like to pick players up at the airport, to be the guy putting the magnets on the board, to scheduling travel, to being a pro scout, to being a college scout, being on the road, away from your family, hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and months away from your family. It can be an isolated feeling. And so, I know that the scouts are going to want to hear from us back in the building, and it helps motivate them. So it's great to go through all those processes, and again, take your time doing it, learn it, absorb it, be the best you can be in the role you're in, and the great opportunity like this will come.
In terms of that scouting process and bringing guys into the department, can you do that immediately, or is it one of those where, evaluating and making changes, really can't do that till after the draft?
In terms of bringing people in from the outside, it just depends on whether or not you have permission to bring a person in, or whether they're free to come in. But that's a harder thing to do, and truthfully, this time of year, because our season in scouting isn't done until April. So most of the hires are made post-draft,
And then just as a follow-up, how well do you know JoJo Wooden, and what's it just been like?
That's good. I would ask this question too. Good question.
It's been awesome. So I've known JoJo, again, we've both been doing this a long time.
There you go.
Him and I have been on the road together. I can think of some conversations we've had years and years and years ago just about players and philosophies and how we scout in Baltimore, how it went back when he was with the Jets, and then obviously now how we do things at our respective teams. And so I've known JoJo for a long time, and he's been great helping me through the transition. Obviously, I'm jumping into a lot of different things, so I need the personnel side to keep running, and they've all done a great job. Had a great call with them yesterday. Really enjoyed it. They had great questions. I got to translate. I come from a different process that they're used to, grading scales, the way their calendar works. And so my job is to be the translator for them in terms of what they do now and what we're going to do going forward.
Just as far as Justin Herbert, what's your vision as far as building around him, and on a broader level, like what are the critical factors as far as building around a star quarterback?
Well, I think Jim mentioned it last week. We want to be strong, physical, tough. We want to develop a really good run game. You build a great run game and a great offensive line, you protect your quarterback. And I've seen it done year in, year out where I came from. And so you help him by supporting him with players that help the entire offense. And certainly we have some skilled receivers that are already here and good players that are already here. But we just want to create a competitive environment in all the positions around them, so we're at our best all the times.
When you first started working in football,
I like that too.
Racquetball buddy or whatever. What was your dream career-wise? Did you want to be a GM of the Chargers?
I wanted to be the best personnel assistant I could be. That's what I wanted to be. I wanted to walk into Shaq Harris's office and Phil Savage's office and Ozzie Newsome's office and
The blue chews.
provide for them. And I don't think that's changed. I want to provide for Dean. I want to provide for John, the Spanos family, this organization. I want to provide for Jim. That's who I am. So I've always tried to be the best I could be at what I did and didn't look forward. And that's certainly as I grew in my career, that GM goal became more and more. But when I first got in, I wanted to be a coach. This was my way in. And then I got into the personnel world. I'm like, this is awesome. This is great. I get paid to watch football and give an opinion.
Like, that's what we're all doing.
Yeah.
You guys do it for
Sweet.
free. I'm getting paid for
we-
it. So, you know,
we get
I support
opinions
if you
all the
support
time.
with it,
Hold on here, dude. I
you
gotta
know,
get paid more
but
money.
that's
What's
what
up?
it is. You know,
You can sign me up, Chargers. I'll give you
the
opinion.
best I can be now for those that I'm here to support.
Defensively, this team has struggled the past couple of years.
That's awesome.
You're coming from, it sounds like a Ravens-type system is coming.
Tooley's
here.
gonna have a great
Coaches
season next year.
who have
Yeah, he will.
coached in Baltimore through the years. How do you kind of translate as far as players that are best fit with that system with the current roster?
Yeah, so the good thing is this current roster and the way the Chargers roster is built is similar to the Ravens defense in terms of how the edge, the 3 downs, the 2 inside backers. So that's going to be, I talked to the scouts yesterday about that. It's not going to be a big shift in terms of how we're going to build this team out. I think the big thing is mentality. You know, like, let's go. Like, let's attack. We want, you know, I call it Charger mentality now, but we want that rough, rugged, tough. We want people to walk into SoFi, teams to walk in and know they're in for it. You know, that's what teams knew when they were playing Baltimore, and that's what we're going to try to create here.
Go.
As far as the process
Love it.
in Baltimore, I think Oz has developed a reputation as having, you know, one of, if not the best, you know, processes in terms of evaluating players. I'm not asking you to give away the secret sauce or anything, but what do you think has made the Ravens process so good and so consistent for so many years?
Yeah, honestly, the connection between the head coach and the general manager, and that just permeates down through both staffs. There's always a conversation. There's always a commitment to one another. Every day, Ozzie talked with Brian, with Ted Marchibroda before that, and he'd relay it down to the scouts. And Eric does the same thing. It's that collaboration and commitment together to win. And the process itself is driven by the scouts and Eric, and you know, but it's led by those at the top, and you have a great relationship. You're constantly communicating and working together. That's the true secret. You know, what you do behind, you know, that's where you maybe gain the little advantages, but when you have the connection and the collaboration in the organization, that's how you win.
When you were with Baltimore, you still had an AFC championship game to prepare for and everything, but did you and Jim talk at any time that weekend of the AFC championship since he was there and it settled on it? Just when did you know you were coming here?
I knew I was coming here on Monday after we lost. So it was the one ray of sunshine that day. I saw him certainly on the sideline before game. We had a conversation. We talked about the opportunity. I'm hoping I get a call tomorrow. I think they're going to call. I feel good about them calling, but I was not offered the job until Monday after that game. So going into the game, you're anxious for 2 reasons, right? You're anxious, man, I hope I get this job. They'd already hired Jim. This is awesome. Dream come true if I get it, and then let's go beat the Chiefs. And obviously we didn't get that done, but, you know, found out the next day I was coming here. So that's when but we talked on the sideline, you know, about hope it gets done, and it'd be awesome if it does. But neither of us knew until Monday.
You didn't have to make any final sales pitches to you or anything?
No, he doesn't have to sell me at all. You know, again, I've been watching him for a long time. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him and his family.
Ravens, over the last 2 decades, have also been sort of on the cutting edge of using data in decision making.
Yeah.
I can't use the buzzword, but
Yeah.
you know. So I guess from your perspective, you know, what's your philosophy on using data in decision making, whether that's team building and player acquisition or like decision making on game day?
Yeah, I think I think it's valuable. You know, I've seen the output, and I've seen how it helps us in Baltimore, and we're going to try to build that here. They've already been doing it. I've had a chance to talk to some of our analysts already, and I'm really excited to work with them. And we'll continue to grow that. And it's on the field and it's off the field. And it's the business side, it's the personnel side, and certainly it's the game management and playing side. So you do sports performance. There's so many ways you can use the data to get better, and we're going to do it because it helps you improve. It helps cover your blind spots. You know, because scouting, you can be, you know, you can have your favorites. You know, as a player, this guy fits what I like. and you got the analytics behind you saying, I don't think you like this guy as much, Joe. So you definitely use it, and it's very helpful.
Joe, the Chargers have the number 5 pick in the draft. That's not a place you picked at. Just the Ravens being pretty far back most of the time.
Yeah.
Is there added importance being that high up, or you just kind of stick to that process of trying to find the best player?
Yeah, I think you stick to the process of finding the best player, and it doesn't matter where you're picking in the draft. It's always important. It doesn't matter if it's the 5th pick or the 32nd. Every pick is important to this organization.
Yep.
It's the 7th rounder. If you put a value of importance on the pick number, you're doing it wrong. Every single pick. Our 5th pick's important. Our 2nd round pick's important. Our 2 7th round picks are going to be important. Every single one. And I've seen it. I've seen a player become a Pro Bowler from a 5th round. That matters. So, we're in the 5th pick. We don't want to be picking there again. Certainly not. But that's where we are right now, and we're going to go through the process and have them stacked and ranked, and we're going to pick the best player for the Chargers at 5.
Love it.
And then we're going to pick the best players for the Chargers the rest of the draft. And our goal is to pick great players all along the way.
How tempting is it being at 5, first year of a new regime, trying to, maybe try to accumulate picks for this year?
Yeah, I think those are options that you consider. Certainly, you have to have a partner to do something like that. So, we're a long ways away from the draft. Right now, I don't think anyone can tell you how the first 5 picks are going to go, the first 10 picks. So, there's a lot to go. A lot more we'll see. The combine, pro days, workouts. So, the talk in the media and see where everyone goes. But we got a lot of time to figure that out, and other teams have a lot of time to see if they're interested. But you got to be ready to pick at 5. I know that. One thing I've learned anything in Baltimore, there's times where that phone doesn't ring, and you better be ready to pick.
What's your approach to being active in the trade market in terms of acquiring players?
It's a good question.
It's more trend in
Love it.
recent years.
Yeah. Trade.
Sure, yeah.
Trade, just like what's your approach to?
Oh, I think you always have to. You got to be looking to make the team better. And if we can find a player leading up to the trade deadline that can help the Chargers now and going forward, either way, and that there's different ways you can trade for a player who ends up factoring into the comp formula, right? Maybe it's a loan, or you can trade for a player that you want to retain. And I think there's multiple ways to go at it, but I definitely think it's something that's valuable. Yeah. So we're always going to be looking to make this team better. If that's through trade, that's through trade, as long as it makes sense for the Chargers.
Let's go.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Very cool.
Great press conference. Great press conference, man. I mean,
What's that? Sab one. Yeah.
give it behind the scenes here.
Oh, there's Jamal right there.
Yeah.
Jamal.
Man, great
Well,
press
guys,
conference, guys.
We don't have Ron Tabasco is no longer with the Chargers, so he's now the GM for the Ray Turds. So good riddance, Ron Tabasco.
Ron Tabasco. Man, multiple times in this press conference with Joe Hortiz, I got goosebumps from this. It's like music to a Chargers fan's ears. Hearing from the point of hey, I'm willing to go trade for a guy in just before the trade deadline to better my team. I'm willing to trade back for in the draft, but you better be ready for whatever pick you have. To you're going to have picks in front of you. You make sure that's an important pick for a player who's going to help your team, kind of thing. You got to love what you're hearing here, man. The whole Tom Telesco philosophy of I'm drafting this guy for 2 years down the road, or a guy that might be a fit, might not be a fit, not putting importance on picks. This guy, dude, home run with this GM hiring. I mean, I am so excited to be able to see what Joe Hortiz could do with this team. I mean, it is incredible to see what's happening. And on top of that, he talked about, look, the Batman and Robin, analogy. He's like, look, man, we're working as a team from top to bottom. It kind of, when I heard that whole thing, it brought me back to the whole AJ Smith Marty Schottenheimer static that ended up happening with him. Drafting, Phillip Rivers, having Drew Brees. Like, there were two different minds that wanted two different things and philosophies of the team. I think we literally have right now with Jim Harbaugh, Joe Hortiz, I think we got literally guys that want to do what's best for the team and work as a team from top to bottom. I love this so much to be able to see what's going on with Joe Hortiz, Jim Harbaugh. We have struck gold and hit a home run with what we are doing in this offseason. It is an absolute W for the Chargers right now.
Well, and also remember too that the big conversation was that Harbaugh wanted complete control. Clearly he doesn't.
He doesn't.
And, he didn't care, right? To him, it was about getting the right guy in that he could work with. I think that's really all he cared about more than anything.
Yep.
So, and he's and he can bring a different side of the conversation in also too, right? Because, he has a different perspective than he does, but he understands the offense and the defense that they want to run coming from the Ravens. And what did you do in the Ravens? Let's just, let's try and execute the same kind of, mentality and mindset. Yeah. I like what he said too. It wasn't just about talent. It was also about team and attitude, right? And I think that's a big part of the conversation. One thing I will say too, guys, just before I forget, because someone asked about Drew Tranquill and he talked about compensation picks. So the definition of a compensatory pick is given to teams that have lost compensate. I can't even say that. CFAs, compensatory free agents. I don't know why I keep saying I want to keep something different. So CFAs, or have on the departure of a specific staff member. So a staff member could leave too. The purpose of the compensatory pick is to balance the level of competition, so you can be awarded a pick. So Drew Tranquill is looking to potentially get a pick because he had such a great season with the Chiefs.
Yep.
So he brought that up in the presser, and I thought that's a great idea. So sometimes letting people walk isn't a bad thing, because if they have a great season, then you can get a pick because of it. So. Yep. Thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well, and it's also involved with how much field time, if it's a player too, that depends on how your picks that you're going to receive from that player leaving. Coaches are the same thing too. Minority coaches that get hired from other organizations, the NFL gives them picks too. So even to say, I don't really know necessarily if we've had many people that have left the organization. Derek Ainsley, you assume, is kind of still hanging around with the team in some capacity. I don't think he's been hired anywhere yet.
No.
He was previously the defensive coordinator for the Chargers, but I don't really know where he's going to be sitting at. I mean, that's the one guy that comes to mind. But yeah, we will get a pick for the Drew Tranquill leaving to go play for the Chiefs for sure. I think it could be a third to a fifth. How awesome would it be if we get like a back end third? Oh, that would be awesome.
So sick.
That would be
so sick.
Awesome. And I think there's a very good chance that we could get that too. So that would be great for the Chargers.
Yeah. And that's an interesting thing. I know it was also coaches were a big thing with compensation picks, CFAs. So anyways, it'd be interesting to see. It was interesting that he talked about that. I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So good strategy around that. So again, Khalil Mack, one thing I will say about Khalil Mack, I'm in the favor of just restructuring his contract, in my opinion, because it would make more sense to me, because then, again, he's getting paid, $38 million next year. Somehow restructure his contract. Yeah. So, again, but he's also one of Staley's boys, right? So you got to wonder how motivated is he going to be to stay here. Brandon Staley ran the team like, you're my boys, everyone else is naval int, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Right. So Harbaugh's not going to be that way. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out moving forward. But you did bring it up, James. Keenan Allen has been working out like crazy. He's on that Harbaugh bandwagon, and it's exciting to see that.
Yeah, Jamari Sawyer basically posted yesterday talking about who's got it better than us on there. Put some Charger bolts on there too, and put bolt up. There's players that are buying in this team. And you know what? Look, going back to Joe Hortiz, I mean, he kind of has a history within the Ravens organization where if a player's not working out, they'll let him go. Even to say a draft pick, I alluded to Hollywood Brown and him getting traded to the Cardinals. Look, if you ain't working out, you ain't fitting in the system, you're out. And I'm very, very much a lot of these players are being put on notice, in my opinion. I mean, there's a lot of players that are fired up. QJ's even talking about it, saying, look, man, I'm going to have a career season next year. You know, there's possibly they've even talked with him saying, hey, man, you might be a guy we need to rely on a lot next year. I mean, even to say if QJ does step up, let's say we get rid of Mike Williams. You got Keenan Allen, Josh Palmer, Mike Williams, possibly another guy out there that we end up drafting. Like, let's say you get Brock Bowers. That's pretty good lineup of 4 really good targets for you. And then on the quarterback or running back, we got to figure out what the heck we're going to do with the running back side of things. But I think it's going to be an awesome offseason. This is personally to me one of the most exciting off seasons the Chargers have ever had, in my opinion.
Yeah. As far as the 5th pick, I'm in favor of trading back and getting more picks, right? And so I think you probably could trade back and probably get Bowers, you know, maybe if you traded with like the Falcons, you know, they wanted to trade up and get a quarterback. But it'd be very interesting to see what happens, right? I mean, again, I think, you know, there's a lot to be said about that, right? Again, a lot of things can happen between now and the draft, you know, and draft stocks goes up and down, right? Depending on combine, what they do, you know, things move around. I actually like Joe Alt too. I mean, think of it this way. Yeah. If you want a running game, you have to ask yourself this question. Is Pipkins the guy that's going to be the running game? No. He can barely block, right? He's not that good. He's okay. So you bring a guy like Joe Alt, that guy is, dude, he's going to help. Right? Dude, he's going to help. He's going to make the whole offensive line play better, right? And he's like 21. He's young. Yeah. So, I think he's 21. Maybe he's even 20. He's young, man. So I don't know. I'm a big believer in that. But again, you know, Bowers, oof, dude.
That guy's a road grader, just a nasty, tough, physical guy, like what they both have talked about, Jim Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz. Yeah. Literally same thing. Like Hortiz. I keep saying Hortiz.
I know. I
one of those two. I think the H is silent, and that's just the way that I'm hearing it as. And I've watched videos on it, and they sound like the H is silent. But, you know, Bowers fits to a T. He wants nastiness, physicalness. He wants that, and he fits to a T. And to be honest, you look at a lot of the teams that have gone far, they all had really good tight ends to pair up with their quarterbacks. Yep. You know, one thing I could even say, too, free agency. I think that we're going to be involved with a little bit of free agency targets from the Ravens. Specifically, one that is available is Patrick Queen. And inside linebackers don't get paid a lot of money these time or in free agency anymore. I'm seeing an AAV right now of about $3 million, just a hair over $3 million for him. So an AAV meaning as an average annual value. What if we get him for 2 years, $6 million? That's a drop in a bucket for Patrick Queen. I wanted him when he was in the draft some years ago. That would be awesome. And a perfect guy that comes from the Raven system. Raisins. That's fantastic.
We're talking good today.
I know, right?
Use your words, James. Use your words. Yeah, Spiller. It would be nice to get Spiller. You know, some snaps. I'm very curious to see what happens here. And again, Joe Altman, he is the guy. He's the man, dude, bro. I'm telling you.
They keep talking about building the line as much as they can, and you know what? Joe Alt could be the guy. I don't know. It's not a sexy pick by any means.
the Baltimore Raisins, dude. I like that.
Baltimore Raisins, baby. It's like the California Raisins, dude. The Baltimore Raisins.
Yeah, the Baltimore Raisins, man. No, look, but again, you know, there's still a lot to be said about the OC too, right? I'm very curious where that goes. I would like to see someone be a guy that can really get the most out of Justin Herbert at this point. You know, we already have Greg Roman there. He's clearly there to support the running attack. Okay. Yep. Build the offensive line and slam the ball down their throat. Right. And so I would like to see another guy come in, help, you know, Herbert, you know, get some open space. So that's why that homie from the Dolphins, I kind of like Inglestrand or Ingle.
Oh yeah. Well, he's from he's from the Lions. He's from
Lions. Sorry. Yeah. Lions. Yeah. So I like that guy. I don't know why I keep forgetting his stupid name. So,
you know, and the thing about it is like he would be a first-year offensive coordinator in the NFL. He was an offensive coordinator, assistant head coach in the college rankings for University of San Diego.
Right.
The thing about him is that he's going to have so much experience around him. He's going to have Greg
say that.
Roman, all these
Yep.
guys that are going to be out there to help him out to make sure that they have a really, really well-built offensive scheme. I think it could be great. I think it'd be a great hiring. And you would expect probably this week or probably after the Super Bowl, we'll have an established offensive coordinator. It's got to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It maybe since it hasn't been hired yet, maybe they want somebody from the Niners or the Queefs, Tanner Ingerstrand. There we go.
Yep.
And again, I'm a big believer of trading down. If the thought is that we need to bring in more talent, you want as many picks as possible so you can hit on as many picks as possible. So I'm a big believer in that. So
I don't know if you hit this comment, but JS20, you guys need a designated booth to host a live podcast at SoFi. You guys are lit. Yeah, no joke, dude. Shout out. Thanks, man. Thanks, JS.
Oh, man, I'd love that. Dude.
Holler at us, dude. We've been wanting to do some live broadcasts there, man, and that would be killer. I'd love it.
Yeah, and again, I think you're right. Joe Alt would be hard to pass up. And again, I think that's why Bowers and Joe Alt make more sense to me. You probably could even get a wide receiver in free agency. I can't remember. There's another guy. There was somebody else that was talking about that's open in free agency, and he'd be another pretty good addition. It just as a wide receiver, right? So, and as I understand, there's quite a few wide receivers in this draft. So I think you could probably get someone third, fourth round. That could be another person to just go out. You need speed at this point. This team needs explosiveness. So that would be the argument for, Malik Neighbors and some of these other guys.
Going back to the press conference with Joe Hortiz, I love that he talked about draft picks and basically drafting and making every draft pick very important to your team.
Yep.
And he even said, hey, we've made late round guys become Pro Bowl players. And gosh, how many times you get a Tom Telesco pick? You're like, all right, dude, like a Trey McKitty. Why'd you pick Trey McKitty? You did also get that same round.
Years. Okay.
Yeah. Well, even to say our right tackle, Trey Pipkins, literally when he got drafted, he wasn't even paying attention to the draft. He was driving his car somewhere, not paying attention to the draft. And he's like, no, I didn't think I was going to get drafted in the third. Well, he ended up getting drafted in the third round. And it's just making sure you get the most important base player at that time that's based upon your analysis that you find for that player. A guy who's a system fit, a role player, a guy that could really be a contributor to this team immediately. And I love hearing that, guys. And, going back to the Joe Alt idea, this team wants to be physical. And both Jim Harbaugh and Joe basically said the same thing. You got to basically get a tough physical line. You got to get a line that's going to protect Justin Herbert. And Tom Telesco was terrible at that. It took a very long time for him to get a manageable O-line. And we got some dogs on our O-line. And I think that we got some really, really good momentum coming into this next year to really build a strong line around Justin Herbert.
Yeah. So one of the things I will say is Telesco was horrible. He ranked fourth worst in drafting by all GMs.
Terrible.
In almost every metrics. He didn't re-sign drafts. It's just horrible. Right. And so the thing that I always think it's just get the best available player, period.
Yep. 100%.
Whoever is rated the highest on that board. I mean, you don't want 5 running backs, obviously. You might have said, okay, well, I don't need this. We need 5 running backs, but you're picking what you need, but also the best available player in a position you are looking to fix. But again, you're right. You guys have done your homework, man, guys. The center from Oregon, I like him as well. We need a center, guys. I mean, think of how much our offense changed immediately when we lost Corey Linsley. Done. And it was horrible. And by the way, I think McFadden is going to be a starter on the line this next season. I think he played amazing. He's nasty. He's big. I think you probably even could get away with not getting anybody major on the line if you swizzled people around, right? Maybe move Jamari Sawyer to the right side. Maybe make Pipkins maybe trade him away. Try and do something different with him. And then maybe even make Zion be the center. I know Zion played center a little bit last season, or a little bit in college. Also, McFadden played center too. So, and honestly, Hymas did well. I think he was okay. He wasn't bad. So, you could potentially get away with what we already have and just move them around a little differently, but who knows, right? So, yeah. But again, a guy like Joe Alt, man, he could, you're exactly right. I think that's part of the conversation, right? If you go with the Malik Neighbors, right, then you obviously can't get Joe Alt, right? So you got to make that choice, right? And so I'm thinking through what maybe the GMs are thinking about in their minds at that moment.
The one thing that I'm going to say about that too, we could easily throw out Jamari Sawyer back to right tackle. Exactly.
Exactly right.
That's exactly what I think could happen. And I think that's a great idea. The thing is, though, we do need to find a center. You believe that, Corey Lindsley's gone. Like, he is gone. We have got to find a way to be able to get that center shored up somewhere. Now, Jordan McFadden is a big dude, and I think he needs to find a way as a guard or possibly center if he could even get to that position. I think there's a lot of guys that we can kind of work with too. I was actually even going to throw out the Ravens did have actually Kevin Zettler, which is a guard for the Ravens. Kind of uncertain future about the Ravens, but he's got basically a contract value of roughly about $7.5 million next season. Wouldn't be surprised to be able to find a guy on defense and a guy on offense from the Ravens free agents for next season to be on the Chargers. So I do think that there's a good chance that's going to happen.
Well, and there's so many things to be said about all that, man. And I kind of think to myself too, like, bottom line, there's a lot of ways they can go with this, man. But again, if the thought is, boy, man, it's tough. We're splitting hairs, man. If the thought is running game, well, Bowers will help out with the blocking, running game, getting physical, opening gaps, and helping with catching the ball downfield. Because, dude, you could re-sign Everett pretty cheap, right? I think he gets paid $8 million a year. You probably get him $8 million a year. He'd probably be okay. I like Everett a lot. You got Everett and him with Parham. That's a nice tight end room with Brock Bowers. But then you got Joe Alt. Joe Alt would be great because he would definitely protect our crown jewel, which is Justin Herbert. And there's just so many different ways they can do this, man. I mean, again, we're gonna have plenty more discussions with you moving forward on all that. But yeah, and by the way, Palmer over St. Brown was still an annoying draft. And by the way, Palmer was a stretch. A lot of people thought he'd go like 4th or 5th round. And they're like, wow, okay. But he's worked out. He's been good. Just had some issues.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we could always kind of like judge that and say, well, maybe they just had him higher at the boards. Maybe they thought he was going to be a better pick. But, once again, there was a lot of reach picks with Telesco versus like getting guys that could be role players right then and there. And it even took a while for Josh Palmer to be that guy.
Yep.
And I think he's a good player.
Yeah. How many Pro Bowlers did the Ravens draft in the past 10 years with Horror? Okay. It's a lot. James, I can't remember the name. There was a number you had in that video, right?
Yeah, it was more. Okay. I'll say just after the second round, after the first round, it's a substantial amount of Pro Bowlers. I would probably stay about 12 Pro Bowlers after the first round. And even obviously a lot of their first round picks did become Pro Bowlers. So based upon that, if we go back to Tom Telesco, he only drafted 2 Pro Bowl players after the first round in his entire time as a GM. So
2?
2. And that was Keenan Allen. And I believe it was, I'm going to say, for some reason, I want to say Uchenna Nwosu, but I don't think that's correct. But not many. And that's the thing. There is a lot of draft picks, late rounds that find ways to be Pro Bowl-based players. So, guys, this is going to be a different team. And it's going to be a team that's going to have a lot of talent, top to bottom. And not these stupid, hey, we draft you to be able to be ready in 2 years kind of thing. Nope, we're drafting you to be now. Like, we need you now kind of thing. Let's go.
Yeah. By the way, this BYU, you guys know I live in Utah. I saw that guy. That guy's really good. He's a really good tackle. And that's a really good point, right? And so, in my mind, you kind of want to splash a guy.
Verrett, but he's a first-round pick.
Verrett?
Sorry, they were just talking about one of the other Pro Bowl players.
Oh, dude, Verrett was incredible. He went to the same. Did he go to Fairfield High School, James? I can't remember where he went. No, he went to
the other one. It was Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. That's right. Yeah, I was right next to
high
those guys in high school. So yeah, man. Oh, you're from Salt Lake. Yes, I have a home in Salt Lake. We need to catch up. Definitely reach out to me. So we can have a little barbecue at my house if I'm watching the game at my place. Definitely invite you over. So definitely shoot us an email, bullprospodcast@gmail.com. Shoot us a message. Yeah. Now, and again, you're right, Blake Corum. What about him at the third round, right? I think there's going to be maybe there's going to be a lot of things that could happen, right? I think bottom line, we might do some free agent signings. We could get some veteran players out there as well, too, right? There might be a right tackle out there we want to go with. Maybe trade away Pipkins with a pick and then just get more picks. I mean, I think maybe what we could say easily, I think Williams is gone for sure. Mike Williams is gone. I think Bosa most likely is gone for sure. If we could trade both those guys away for more picks, I think that'd be great. And then take away some of the salary cap. Yep. And then maybe restructure Allen, maybe restructure Mack. That'd be huge. Clearly, though, Derwin James is not going anywhere. He's staying with the Chargers.
He's going to be a general in the backfield there for sure. Well, and the one thing too, look, if some of these players are really bought in that have big contracts, do you think that they would try to take some pay cuts just to be able to know what they have in front of them? Who knows? Like a lot of these players seem very, very excited to be able to play for, Jim Harbaugh. Maybe they'll stick around. Maybe they'll take a little pay cut to be able to stick around and have a chance with him. They know the track record of Jim Harbaugh. Maybe that's the Harbaugh effect that's going to happen here, guys.
Dude, big time.
Maybe they'll do a full restructure and say, I'll take less so I got a chance. Let's go. And actually, I was going to say one thing about Blake Corum. I looked at like the 7-round, draft, mock draft of some sort. They had us drafting like 3 running backs in that draft. And I was like, whoa. And it was like, it was the guy from the running back from Notre Dame, Estime, I think is his name. There was also late round. It was Frank Gore Jr. And then it was like one other running back. And I was like, that's crazy to think about that. But the Ravens have done that multiple times with like tight end positions and running backs in drafts, D-line and all these different things, like positions where they just overload as much as they possibly can on players so they could kind of build up the youth side of their things in one certain position to really maybe stabilize it in some level. So
right.
Who knows, man? This is one of the coolest off seasons in my opinion. The Super Bowl hasn't even happened. Like it's a lot of adjustments and changes. And I love seeing this, guys. It's going to be really exciting off season.
Yeah. And again, I think we trade down top 10. Look, I like the trade back idea again. Yep. Zion, college experience at center. I think McFadden did as well too. I think they're going to play around with that. I think it's obviously something we're going to have to deal with as it progresses moving forward. But I think there's something to be said about that because I really do believe, and Mike Williams would take a pay cut, but I mean, you got to wonder. I mean, the guy's supposed to make what, $33 million or something like that. It's crazy money. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. So there's a lot to be said. You missed everything.
What I missed? 516. You missed it, man. Oh, it was Joe Hortiz's press conference. Watch the video again when it posts up on our channel. You can kind of review it and everything too.
Good trading partner down. I think right now would be definitely the Falcons. Right, they're probably going to want to move up, and then trying to think of who else. That's the one I keep thinking about more than anything.
Giants was another one.
Oh, Giants. Yeah, Giants. That's another one.
Yeah, because I mean, they obviously have quarterback need. Maybe they could find a way at 5. I mean, there's a lot of shakeup where it's potentially could have been 3 quarterbacks to the first
Vikings,
3.
That's the other one.
The Vikings is another one too. So, and they need a quarterback too, right? They seem like they're moving away from Kirk Cousins.
Well, Cousins wants a lot of money too. He's getting paid quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, you're right. So I think to me, I have a video dropping. I already filmed it. It's basically the 6 needs that we got to go after against tight end, running back, center, defensive lineman. There's a lot of things that we need to get. The question is how are you going to adjust and move that forward? I think some of it's going to be taken care of in free agency, but some of it's also going to be, picked up in the draft. Right. And I think, cornerbacks are going to be huge too, guys. That's the other thing. Davis is gone, but he wasn't physical. But you also got to look at someone like an Asante Samuel, he's a little guy. He's 180. I'm probably heavier than Asante Samuel. I'm 190. He's like 185, right? I mean, he's obviously more ripped than I am. But but my point is, he's just a little guy. Just like Tommy Boy said, right?
Yeah.
So he can't be super physical, right? And so that's part of the conversation. So, it'd be very interesting to see how it plays out. And by the way, this guy, Saintsville, dude, that guy's the man, bro. So you got to wonder, if Harbaugh's going to want to try and get some of his boys back, in the house. But I don't remember him being a really big guy. I think he's 6 foot, something like that.
Yeah.
So
6 foot at cornerback is like a big thing now. I mean, that's a big cornerback, to be honest. I mean, I've seen a lot of 5'10" cornerbacks, and I'm like, man, that guy's could really get beat by a 6'5" wide receiver, like.
Hey man, hey Kyle, remember when I was on the beach and I pulled my hamstring running on the beach?
This guy, dude.
Yo, pull up lame, flat tire. Flat tire,
baby.
He's 5'10". Okay, yeah, but he's good, bro. I mean, and that's kind of my point, right? And so I'm excited to see what happens here. I mean, again, I like the trade back idea. I'll say this, dude. It's interesting. Blake Corum, dude. There's so much going on here.
Yeah.
Leo. Oh, Leo talking trash here. I'm 7.
Yeah,
whoa, here we go.
Dude. Dang,
Leo. Leo, I'm a finely tuned athletic machine, son. I tell you what, dude.
Yeah,
James sees it every time I play pickleball with him, dude. I just
boy. All right.
dominate the court, dude. Dominate the court. No big deal.
Yeah. Sure. I was playing pretty terrible yesterday. That was disappointing.
I did. Yeah, I got a
You were
DNF
playing good.
on that.
Yeah.
Hey,
what I think at Chargers training camp, I think it was either last year or the year before. I think I did the 40-yard dash or whatever it is, and I think I was like a super slow. Hey, it's cold run, guys. It was cold run, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
It was super slow.
Remember up.
Yeah, man, it was cold run, dude. It was bad, but I think I looked at it and I was like 5.7 or something like that, or 5.8 or something like that, and that was like one of the slowest combine 40s of all time. And I was like, well, fantastic. Look at me, 43-year-old running around here trying to act like he's fast. Yeah, and Marshawn, that's been one of those guys that I've been seeing a lot from USC.
Yeah,
he's kind of a bigger dude, stout guy. I think he was actually originally from UC Davis, I believe. There's been a lot of talks about it. I'm really excited about the combine that's going to be coming up here soon. Really see kind of what these players are looking like.
Yeah, man, I'll tell you, dude. Well, and again, I think the whole point, why would you want Michigan players? Because they have a good mental mindset, right? And that's really what Jim Harbaugh puts into his players. And that's clearly what Brandon Staley didn't do, right? I mean, I think there was that lull from losing that 27-0 lead in the playoffs. Yeah. Again, we go back to this all the time. They say, oh, our way. Well, clearly our way doesn't work, dude. Our way means we lose like tough games. And so that's garbage, man. And again, if you look at our schedule next season, we got a pretty damn easy schedule, dude. So this is why I'm thinking we could lose. I think we could easily be, 13-4, 12-5. I mean, we could have a great season, man. I mean, I truly believe we're going to be at least mentally tough. And I think that's a big part of what we need to do, man. So that's a great point, Steve. He didn't, because he had his boys and he just left them out there and say, whatever, no big deal.
Yep.
But I remember Keenan Allen talking about that a couple times last season. He was like, hey, man, we're not accountable. He kept saying that. And he's like, yeah, people need to be more accountable. And they just weren't. There was never any repercussions for not playing good or whatever. And dude, and look at like Eckler. He fumbled the ball. Dude, we lost at least 2 games that I could think of, just him fumbling the ball. There's 2 of them. There was 2 going into the end zone. I think there were 2 different games. And there was another one. So his like 3 or 4 fumbles he had, they were like horribly timed. I mean, I was like, oh my God.
Yep.
So anyways, and the rumor is that Andy Reid may be retiring after the season as well, too, guys. So
crazy. But it's interesting to say that Chiefs are regressing when they're in the Super Bowl once again. Like, that's a hard thing to really say, but they aren't really as a juggernaut they once were, but still, once again, they're in the Super Bowl. Like, it's kind of tough to say. But yeah, Steve Eckler's gone. Like, I heard some weird thing that he's like moving to Vegas or something like that. So, I mean, Tom Telesco likes his boys. He might be a Raider. Who knows?
So I think the difference with Jim is going to be that he's going to say, hey, this is going to require hard work. And if he doesn't see you putting effort in, you're going to be, gone or get less playing time. And I think there's something to be said about that. It goes back to the accountability word, right? And again, Brandon Staley had his boys. They did whatever they want. Oh, yeah, Keenan's here, but he's off to the side doing his own thing. Or I don't need to worry about, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack knows how to keep his body where he's going. And he's not necessarily wrong. But the problem is they're treating people differently on the team. That does not create a team mentality.
Nope.
It's team. And you don't make that happen going that direction. It just doesn't work that way.
I remember Aaron Rodgers talking about his love of the NFL and what it's about. It's not about one person. It's about all 11 people on each side of the ball, basically, to make it work. And, it takes 53 to win a game, right? During game day. And every player needs to be locked in and ready to go. And the one thing I'll say about Tom Telesco and Brandon Staley, it was about more, hey, my guys, my little posse of dudes are the guys that are ready to go. Everybody else kind of figure it out kind of thing.
Yeah, everyone else is navel lint, dude.
Yeah, navel lint. This is just a random thought. Just thinking about who we have on the squad here. JT Woods is one of those guys that is really on the bubble.
How's the Raiders treating you there, Tommy T?
Yeah, Tommy T's in the house. Maybe change it up now to Joe Hortiz burner.
Yeah, you got to change it up to Joe Hortiz, baby. Yeah. Joe Hortiz burner phone. I like that.
Yeah, but I was gonna say with JT Woods, he's one of those guys that might not fit very well with Jim Harbaugh. Like a guy that can't tackle very well. He's got good range, but he's got to be a physical player. I do feel that JT Woods got to a very, very good point where he was tackling better. But what if you end up pushing him over towards like a cornerback position? As long as he could find a way to make tackles, JT Woods could find his way to be able to be a position change at some level. Random thought, guys. Maybe I got a little caffeine going through my brain here, but that's a good thing to be able to kind of think about, that position changes could happen with some of the players that are currently on the squad.
Yeah, and again, I don't think we should be concerned about it because bottom line, it's about the team, right? And I think, I think there's a lot of, there's just a lot of ways to cut that conversation because
big time.
Clearly they're going to see effort, focus. And if they're not giving their 100% effort, then I think they're going to say, great, well, you're not going to get playing time. You know what I mean? So, and again, James has a video coming out. He's going to talk about, getting under the cap. I have a video of the 6 positions that we need to get. It's already recorded. I'll probably drop it tomorrow if no news comes out. And thank you so much, Tommy T. Appreciate you.
Let's go. Yeah, and the whole thing too, LBC, with the cap, there is a lot of ways that we could find a way to save cap and also extend everybody and find a way to be able to push money around a little bit. But it's still a lot of kick the can down the road kind of situation. So 2025, we got plenty of money. We got plenty of money to work with, and you could push money into next year. You could do void years, all these different things. I'm still once again trying to analyze how I could put that video together and not sound like a dummy.
Yeah, and that's a good point, dude, because you probably could kick the can down the road for one more year. Wow, there we go. That was great. Just hit my mic. I just did it again. Wow, good. My gosh. So but bottom line is, you can just kick the can down the road for one more year, run it back, just try and make it work, and see what happens. Get Mike Williams out there, get some other guys, but then it's tough. You're drafting all these guys, or how's that going to play out, right? So. But again, $44 million over the cap is a lot, right? Corey Linsley's going to free up $8 million. You probably let, there's a lot of numbers we could go through. I don't want to go through all of it. Yep. So, and JT Woods, you got to wonder. They kept calling it an illness. Well, what kind of illness, dude? Like what are you talking about? Did he get the Rona? What happened there? So, but man. You're right. Telesco, dude, he just, I don't know, man. He did not do a good job. Again, there's going to be a lot. We're going to talk about a lot, dude. And what about Dotson? Dotson didn't get any kind of, playing time.
Yeah.
Just stupid. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
Well, Well, guys, we've been talking quite a bit. I know this is already an hour and a half long. So, James, maybe final thoughts on our new GM here, and then we'll wrap up.
And after the conference, I pretty much had a lot of my thoughts. But a big thing is, we got a guy that's going to want to work with Jim Harbaugh and actually has worked a little bit and chatted with Jim Harbaugh quite a bit. So there is history already there. They understand each other quite a bit. And the big thing I love about this whole press conference and how Jim Harbaugh is bringing in his dudes. He's bringing in all his guys that he knows how to work with, because the Spanos has allowed this to happen. They allowed Jim Harbaugh to say, hey, look, we need you to make sure you feel comfortable here and you want to stick around here with us, say, for the next 10 years. And I love seeing that, guys. Like, we have now a situation where we have a GM that looks like he's got the same idea as Jim Harbaugh, physical, fast, just an absolute intimidating base team when you come into SoFi, and build a winner all around. Build a team that could be for the long haul, a team that could go to the playoffs every single year, a contender every single year. That's what you want. And I think we got a great core that we're building here with the Chargers, and Joe Hortiz is going to be a great part of this team. And I think is going to draft extremely well and pick the right players that fit extremely well for this team. So commonality, same mindset, we fence all day, every day with this team. And I am excited for this offseason, and I cannot wait for 2024. It's going to be fun, guys. Let's go. It's
going to be awesome. And I'll say this. Everyone wants Bowers. Joe Alt. There's all these conversations. I mean, every wide receiver. I mean, I'd love Marvin Harrison Jr. What if he's available? What if he slips to 5?
Crazy.
I mean, you take him. I mean, that guy's just a freak of nature. But here's my thing. The cool thing about Joe Hortiz, and clearly Jim Harbaugh, he's happy with him. They have a good relationship. They've already outlined the relationship a lot. And bottom line, they're going to work well together. And that's great. They're going to make decisions together, which I think is exactly how it should be. So that's awesome. And at this point, guys, we have think of this as a GM and a head coach. You have every major position filled: quarterback, left tackle, defense, edge rushers. You have everything that really matters, the hard portions of it. So for me, all you got to do is get the rest of the guys to elevate their level and just bring out the best from each one of them. Guys, again, we were 1-9 in 1-score games last season. You cannot tell me that Harbaugh and this coaching staff can't switch that to 9-1 in 1-score game next season. With the schedule we have, guys, I'm telling you, I truly believe my prediction, we lose 4 or 5 games next season and easily make the playoffs, and we win the division. That's my prediction.
Let's go.
We got it. We got it.
It's unbelievable, man. And, you could even take it deeper from the 1-score based games during Tom Telesco's era. It's well over 100-something games. And I think it's like 109 games that were 1-score based type games. Now, 1-score, not lost games, but just 1-score based games. So just going to last year, 1-9, we could flip that to 9-1 in 1-score games. Let us be the trendsetters, be the pacemakers, be the ones that you have to play our game. And I've been saying that for a very long time. And Jim Harbaugh talked about that in his conference. You be the ones that's the pacemaker here, and be the ones that could actually be the team that bullies everybody else. And I think we got that chance with this coaching staff. I cannot wait, guys. It's exciting.
We got to host slap them, dude. We got to host slap. We got to keep them in check.
We bring the storm, baby. We bring the storm, baby. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing, guys. I'm excited. All right, guys. Well, we're the Bowl Pros. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Let's go.